Just look at these beauties. All of this food can be found right here in my little kitchen in Greensboro, North Carolina. Talk about some breakfast food. One of the best reviews that I've ever gotten, which was from the first year that we were open, a guest left a review raving about the food, but also saying you can tell the chef was really proud of her food, which probably means that since we have an open kitchen, you're probably sitting right over here and heard me say something to the effect of, look at these beauties. All that to say, hi, welcome. My name is Catherine Hubert. I am the chef and owner of Chez Genèse, which is a French-inspired restaurant in Greensboro, North Carolina. We have been open almost 7 years, and I'm wondering, is it possible for us to work towards earning a Michelin star? Fun fact, North Carolina currently doesn't have any Michelin starred restaurants. So today we are going to be diving into what's the big deal with a Michelin star anyways, how did it originate, what are the 5 characteristics that restaurants need to meet in order to earn a Michelin star, and do I think we can do it? Before we dive into all of that, let me take a brief minute and introduce you to my business so you know why I'm here in the first place, and then we'll get going. Welcome to my business, Chez Genèse. We are a French-inspired restaurant in downtown Greensboro, North Carolina, and we offer an integrated hiring model, meaning that 50% of our team is disabled and 50% is non-disabled, and we are on a mission to change the way that our world both views and employs people with disabilities. We are most famous, I think, for our weekend brunch, and in specific, our lemon ricotta pancakes. So what's the big deal with the Michelin star or stars anyways? Well, there are a couple of awards that are given out in the culinary world. One is the James Beard Award, which I like to think of as the Oscars of food awards. And then 2 is Michelin and Michelin stars, which is a much more elusive, evasive award, and kind of feels like if the queen were to bestow an award upon a restaurant, it would be the Michelin star. Basically, it's a big fucking deal. A lot of Michelin starred restaurants tend to be grouped in bigger cities like Paris, New York City, Chicago, which is where I got this wild idea in the first place. Is I recently took a trip to Chicago and was just overwhelmed by the caliber of restaurants, the number of Michelin starred restaurants, which got me thinking, can I bring an element of that back to my little town in North Carolina? So how did Michelin stars become a thing, and why are they so sought after? Well, believe it or not, it actually started with the tires. Yes, Michelin starred restaurants and Michelin tires, it's the same umbrella. Back in the day, Michelin was trying to figure out a way to sell more tires. And how do you sell more tires? Well, by tires wearing out. How do tires wear out? Well, by driving more. So they established a guide that encouraged people who had Michelin tires to drive around and explore other parts of their city, other cities, the world, etc., which put more miles on their car, which meant that they needed tires faster. So capitalism at its best here. But the process was establishing this guide that recommended places to eat, places to stay, etc., and it blew up. I don't know that they were expecting it to have the demand and the enthusiasm that it was met with, but in that, the excitement, the passion, the award of being recognized by the Michelin Guide as a place to stop and eat became a global phenomenon. There are 3 different stars that Michelin gives out. 1 star means a very good restaurant. 2 stars means excellent cooking, worth a detour. And the legendary 3 stars means exceptional cuisine, worth a special journey. How are Michelin stars given out? Well, this is the part where things get really tricky. So unlike a James Beard Award, which you can be nominated for, you can self-nominate yourself for, there is no application process for a Michelin star. The Michelin team has a team of private investigators who are food tasters who go around in secret and eat at restaurants that are on their radar, and they do that multiple times. They switch it up, so they come during different times of the week, different times of the day, etc., to make sure that the quality stays consistent. But you don't know who they are, they don't announce themselves, and then they go back to a panel and they deliberate and they talk about who gets a star, who loses a star, etc., and then that information is awarded or handed out to the restaurants. You don't know when they're there. You don't know who they are. You can't ask for someone to come. So it's one of the reasons why it's so exciting and overwhelming and such a mark or a stamp on a restaurant when you see that star. So what are the 5 characteristics that Michelin is looking for before rating a restaurant as Michelin starred? And for the sake of this video, how do we measure up to each of those characteristics? Number 1 is the quality of ingredients. This is something that I think we do well here. We have a lot of emphasis on not just where we get our food from, which we try to get as much of it locally. We do seasonal menus so that we're rotating things in and out as the seasons change. And we spend a lot of time and attention with how we treat and take care of those ingredients. So almost everything in our kitchen is done as the orders are coming in, which is a really unusual way for kitchens to operate. We don't cut the fruit for your fruit plate until we get an order for it, so that your apples don't turn brown, so that your oranges don't dry out. We don't make things until we get the order, which can add some extra stress to the kitchen, but ultimately makes those flavors really come through and protects the integrity of the good ingredients that we're using. Number 2 is the harmony of flavors, making sure that the flavors really blend well together and they complement one another. This is something that I think we also do well. Our heirloom tomato tart, I think, is one of the best examples of this on our menu. The things that you're really going to taste and notice when you eat that dish are the flaky pie dough that we make here from scratch, the herbed goat cheese, the heirloom tomatoes, which are going to be naturally sweet and a little bit sour, and then the honey drizzle that we do on the top. A little bit of salt and pepper, so you're getting that sweet and that salty together along with the kind of fatty, buttery, cheesy goodness, but all of those things together. That was one of the first dishes that I sampled after testing a bunch of the recipes, and when I tasted that with my chef at the time, we were like, this restaurant's gonna work. Number 3 is the mastery of cooking techniques. This is something that I think could be a sticking point for us in the grand scope of what Michelin restaurants oftentimes look like, where things are down to really the science. Things can be very technical in the Michelin world. However, what we're doing is breakfast. And I think when it comes to breakfast and the cooking techniques involved in creating really delicious, solid breakfast food, I think we're excellent in. So this one I think is could be a little bit competitive for us, because I think when it comes to breakfast, we're nailing it. Poached eggs, omelets, touch babies. Like, we're doing things that you're not going to see in other breakfast restaurants. However, if you're looking for something that is really the foam and the spritz and the spray and the sneeze and the whatever, we're not doing that. And so I think there could be an argument both for and against us in this category, which makes it a little tricky. Number 4, the personality of the chef as displayed through their cuisine. I do think that everything that we have here on our menu is something that I have created the recipe for, that my hands have been involved in, that means something to me. A lot of the food that we have on our menu has some sort of personal connection or nostalgia, either for me in my childhood and things that my mom would cook for us, like the Dutch baby that we had as our birthday breakfast every year, or things that really remind me of France or New York City, some of the bigger cities that I've been to that I am hoping to exhibit and embody in the cuisine that we're doing. And I think the overall tone of our food is that I want it to be approachable. I want people to feel comfortable when they're eating it. I want them to feel nourished. I want them to have that this hits the spot feeling when they eat our food, that feeling of being safe, that feeling of being taken care of, the feeling of wanting to come back over and over again because of how something made you feel when you ate it. And so I think all of those things are representative of who I am, the kind of host I want to be, the kind of person that I am and want to be, and hopefully that shines through the food that we're making. And lastly, number 5 is the consistency of the dining experience. And I think this is the point that's gonna get us. and that we really need to work on. The other 4, I feel pretty confident in what we've already created and what we're doing, and that I think we can continue to grow and evolve in. But the consistency of that experience is something that I think that we need to stretch in and work on as a team, making sure that regardless of what day you come here, what time of day, that the quality and the experience that you have is the same, while also still keeping in mind that we are all people. And so there's gonna be slight nuances to everything because people are different. And the way, just even like forming a pie crust, my hands and fingers are a certain size, which means that my pie crust is going to look a little bit different than somebody who has larger or smaller hands. Like all of those little nuances play into how a finished product turns out, but making sure that the quality and the standard of excellence is the same no matter what, and whether we're slow or whether we're busy. I think that's something that we need to grow in and something that I'm motivated to work on with my team. So I'm about to embark with my team on the journey of finding out, can we reach towards this as a goal? Can we hit these 5 characteristics that are the make or break of a Michelin star? And can we raise enough buzz and chatter and talk to get us on the Michelin radar in the first place? That being said, I do think that there are some pros and cons to being an award-winning restaurant, and I want to dive into those into this video before we close out. First of all, why do I want to see us reach for this goal? Well, there's kind of 2 reasons wrapped into one. One, I am definitely a very goal-oriented, big dreamer, achiever kind of person. If you are familiar with the Enneagram, I am an Enneagram 3, which is the achiever. So the competitive reach for the literal stars girl inside of me just thinks it would be so cool to have this sense of achievement and to be the first or one of the first restaurants in North Carolina to hit this goal. That being said, that also is tied with the social impact model that we have here at Chez Genèse. So like we said earlier in the video, we have an integrated hiring model. 50% of our team is disabled and 50% of our team is non-disabled. And there's a really big bias in our world that says people with disabilities are not as good at their jobs as people without disabilities. And I think that that is absolutely wrong. And I'm here to prove to the world that it is otherwise. And we're doing that and working towards that every day with this restaurant, and the quality of food and the quality of service that we produce together as a team. But having a Michelin star and having that shout out to the world would be so significant in the world of disability employment and disability advocacy. And so that's another big reason why I think that this would be such an exciting adventure to take on together as a team. And if we don't reach the goal, all we've done is make our restaurant more excellent in the process, which will still benefit us, will still benefit our guests. So there really is not any sense of losing in that degree. What's the potential con of becoming a Michelin-starred restaurant? And I do believe that there is one, and I actually think that it's a pretty big one, which is this little restaurant was founded by, supported by, sustained by people of Greensboro and the local love that has wrapped its arms around us and carried us through the opening season and then a COVID season and kept us going is my favorite part about having a restaurant. I love that because we're a restaurant and we have regulars that we see every day or that we see every week, we get to be part of their lives in this really beautiful tandem way. And I don't want to lose that. It's the thing that I love the most about this restaurant. It's the reason that we are here and alive in the first place. And when a restaurant becomes a James Beard restaurant or becomes a Michelin-starred restaurant, it changes business so dramatically, which can be a huge gift because running a restaurant is not a very financially sustainable business. It can be very financially stressful. So having that demand can be wonderful, and I don't want to lose the local following that we have because our local people don't want to stand in a line at the door anymore. So that's something that I'm already thinking about and factoring into how we chase this goal, how we pursue it, what our business model looks like, because I don't want to lose the connections that we've spent the last 7+ years working on and towards. Just know that, local Greensboro community, you have our hearts first and foremost. So, is this a possibility for us? Is this a goal that we could actually reach? correct? Well, technically, yes, because Michelin didn't used to cover North Carolina at all, and now it does. So that opens up the world of possibility for us. However, I do think that we still have our work cut out for us. There's a lot of hard work left ahead. But if you would like to see us reach this goal, ways that you could help us are sharing this video, subscribing to our channel, following us on Instagram. If you've never been to us here in Greensboro, please come check us out. We would love to meet you. We would love to feed you. We would love to serve you. If you know anybody at Michelin or you're associated with Michelin and you want to start to put us in the works for potential inspections and investigations later on, that's also an option. And if there's another restaurant in Greensboro or North Carolina that you think we should check out, that you think Michelin should check out, please drop that in the comments as well. Thank you for being here. We're excited to start this journey. We're excited to start it with you, and we'll see you next time. Just look at these beauties. That was my boobs. Hold on, let me do another one.